Hello, my friends. Today I've got something really special for you. A cinematic step-by-step look at a bold, memorable layout crafted for a contest, judged by arguably the most elite panel ever assembled. Let's roll back the clock. It's 2021, and I had a layout that I filmed that just fell apart. I stepped away from competition, burned out, struggling. The joy was just gone. But those struggles forced me back to basics, and I questioned everything. The common advice always came back to find the root cause, or you need to find balance. How it took 4 years to get to the bottom of finding balance seems crazy to me. Why is a long story. Regardless, here we are. I believe I found the root cause, and my plants have been healthy and thriving for 3 months, and algae has just about disappeared. During these years, my hardscape has regressed, along with my confidence. The layouts have become increasingly minimal to the point that right now, I don't even have a single piece of wood or stone in my large tanks. So here I am, 2025. I've set some goals, continued plant health so the tank truly thrives. Then bring back the boldness in the hardscape and rebuild confidence, not just for competition, but in myself. And now it's time to get started. I've targeted the Korean International Aquascaping Contest with a deadline of November 2nd. That's 68 days from now. But before I can even begin aquascaping, there's a lot of preparation. First, I have to select which of my 2 larger aquariums to use. The 90 by 60 centimeter 58 gallon, which would give me great layering and visual depth, or the 120 by 45 68 gallon, which is pulling me toward ideas of long flowing lines and that feeling of movement. Second, whichever tank I select, it's full of life, plants, fish, shrimp, and everything needs to be carefully removed. That means safely relocating them, stripping out the soil, and keeping that filter running to give us a jump start on the new layout. Next, I need a solid design, a blueprint for the layout. This is where the vision comes together, the foundation for the scape. Before a single stone or plant is placed, I have some ideas and need to get them solidified, so I'm not wasting time on making major changes to that layout down the road. And finally, the hardscape materials need to be selected and brought down from my attic storage. With over 15 years of collected stone and wood, choosing the right pieces is a project in itself, but it's critical for creating that memorable layout. And then, when all that is done, the real journey begins, taking 15 years of lessons, challenges, and my goals, and translating that into my best attempt at a memorable layout that I love. And with a lot of luck, we will have an award-winning layout that we can all sit back and enjoy. We're down to 44 days, and now the focus shifts to growing out the plants. One of the biggest challenges here was my desire of making this layout last long term. Big impact often comes at the expense of maintenance, and in a contest, that's not an issue. You only need it to look perfect for the photo. But in real life, frustration builds fast if upkeep is impossible. That's one of the reasons I ripped out all the wood and replaced it. At first, it looked powerful, but I realized in terms of long-term sustainability, it just wasn't going to be practical. The other problem was the look, way too manicured. And if you've followed my work, that's a common critique: too polished, too clean, too perfect. In contest judging, that hurts you under natural impression, which is all about capturing the authenticity of nature. To fix that, I leaned into a wabi-sabi approach. Drawing from a mono, I added all the wood and then subtracted until it felt good, striking a balance between chaos and order. I did this with both the wood and the stones. The result? A layout with imperfection built in, and that's where the true sense of nature lives. The big question: will the judge's eye see it as natural or as forced? Timing also played a role. With plants arriving from Tropica and a trip to Aquascape on the horizon, I chose a dark start, even though time is so scarce. Contest or not, the first 10 days are critical. It's when algae can ruin everything if you're not around. By delaying the planting, I gave myself a fighting chance. It brings a risk of not finishing, but sometimes calculated risks are what separate a good scape from a great one. So far, things are holding steady. There's some transition, some melt, but the moss is showing fresh tips, huge for achieving the maturity score, which judges value highly. Here's where the system stands. Lighting is around 60 par at the bottom. CO2 sits steady at 50 parts per million. Nutrients are balanced. I also added a power head to the back corner, partly to eliminate a dead zone and partly to shape plant growth so it flows with the wood. Judges look for composition harmony, and this little detail could be the difference between a layout that feels unified and one that feels scattered. Next comes livestock. I'm adding shrimp before leaving for another 8 days. They're my algae insurance, keeping the scape clean while the tank and my whole gallery runs on automation. The fry I've been raising will be released into another tank with an auto feeder dosing flake. It's risky, they'll have to fend for themselves. While not necessary, it'll be a nice detail of just how healthy my fish are if the fry survive. When I return, the calendar will show 33 days to go. I've just returned from my trip and got my first good look at the aquarium. The result is not what I was hoping for. I left the aquascape in pristine condition, but obviously something's gone really wrong. The most obvious issue is the large patches of diatoms. And then there's the scum covering the entire surface. And lastly, and most concerning, is a staghorn algae outbreak. Staghorn has been my nemesis, and I really thought it was behind me. I do feel hope as I look at the other aquariums and see that the fish all look fine and the plants are looking good. Many of the fry survived without me, though it's clear that some have fallen from lack of food or maybe predation. On closer inspection of this contest layout, it looks like the surface skimmer just stopped working. It seems to be plugged up with algae and debris, allowing a nasty buildup of scum on the surface. It is the thickest I've ever seen, and it smells just awful. This layer of scum has certainly deprived the aquarium of oxygen, probably causing a lot of these algae issues. First thing is to remove the scum, then I'll remove all the equipment, clean it thoroughly, which will restore that skimming and improve the flow some.
I'll siphon out as much of those bottom diatoms as I can, and then do a large water change. With that all done, we can look at the staghorn. I'm guessing we may have to remove some of the wood and plants and give them an algicide bath using a diluted hydrogen peroxide. I'll hammer this routine until balance returns. If needed, I still have a few tricks up my sleeve.
It is day 40. The aquascape looks much better. This rough start has certainly shaken my confidence, but I find it building up quickly again. I could not help but worry that this was headed for another failure like 2021. The algae outbreak, full retreat. The plants, healthy. With the contest deadline looming over us with under 4 weeks remaining, my gut's telling me that this isn't going to finish in time. So I have two paths before me. One, ride this out and just hope that the plants can grow enough. Or two, make some changes to the wood portion of the layout and add some plants from the farm aquarium. I'm torn. I think it's time to pivot. An unanticipated trip has come up. The tight timeline just got shorter by another 7 days. This is my last day to film if I want to enter the contest. The aquascape is looking really good. It is time to capture the layout on film, a process I have practiced many times to create sharp and stunning images. The fish have only been in their new homes for a day, including those fry who are just now swimming with the school for the first time. All seem to have adapted immediately and retained their behavior and breeding colors to show off for the camera. As I review my photos for the best one to submit to the contest, I find myself reflecting on those goals I set in the beginning. The first was to continue growing healthy plants. This shook things up. Being gone for so many days during the ambitious timeline took its toll. This was tough, but I think just observing the tank now and seeing the photos, I think it's fair to say that this goal was met. The second goal was to achieve a bold and impressive hardscape using my storage of stones and wood. I really loved my original design on paper. I had to make that tough decision to keep it and risk missing the deadline or changing things up to greatly increase the odds of finishing. This goal I'm calling partially met. The changed up design of the wood is much less dramatic than the original, but I think could still be considered strong. I can't help but wonder what would have happened if I left it alone. And the last goal, arguably the most important, my confidence. It certainly was tested. A tight timeline, absent for 27 of the 66 days traveling, and that long early trip resulting in a devastating algae outbreak. Yet, I stuck to it and with determination recovered the layout, but not the time. And let me correct that. Because of the challenges faced, I feel confident and ready to tackle the future. And ultimately, it is a hobby that I find joy, fascination, and peace, regardless of ranking. And with that, all the hard work over these last few months is completed. There's nothing more that I can do. So I sit back as we wait for the judges' results.